This is an Awakening Zone presentation, human empowerment radio and media for the 21st century and beyond.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth Show, the place where we unveil the keys to being the most extraordinary you. I'm your host, Dr. Elizabeth Lambaer, and I'm so honored and delighted that you are here. If you'd like to redefine and expand your greatest potentiality, you've come to the right place. My intention in creating this show is to provide a platform and an opportunity for people to tune in and discover the keys to living healthy, radiant, youthful, rich, joyous, expansive, fulfilling lives. Doesn't that sound amazing? And truly, this is our birthright, and this is what I wish for all of us. We are ever-expanding beings living in an ever-expanding universe. And it is the premise of my work to show that we literally have the capacity to grow younger, stronger, deeper, richer, wiser, more flexible, more radiant, more beautiful, better in every way imaginable. Body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit. This is the place where you can come, bring your questions, and listen to the latest information on a variety of topics, from healing modalities that fly just under the radar to how to manifest more in less time with grace, ease, and fun. Learn more about health and wellness, sexuality and sensuality, spirituality, human potentiality, the dance of the divine feminine and sacred masculine, the quantum physics of beauty, and more. Each week, I will be inviting guest experts to join me in expanding this conversation and sharing their wisdom and insights. We are broadcasting live from beautiful Marina del Rey, California, on the Awakening Zone, the international network for empowered awakening. A huge thanks to Joe Rombolo and Linda and Jeff Hoppy for creating this amazing network. I invite each of you to call in and ask your questions. The call-in number is 714-364-4353, or you can log in to www.awakeningzone.com, the Dr. Elizabeth Show. This is the place for you to get the answers you are seeking. And if you'd like to find out more about me and my work, please feel free to visit www.drelizabeth.com. Greetings, everybody. Welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth Show. I am so delighted to have each one of you here. I know that we have listeners from all around the world. All of you write to me, you say hello, you connect with me on Facebook and YouTube, and it's really wonderful to have you here on this show. I love to share that when we connect across the globe, we literally create a vortex of infinite possibilities. So with all my listeners over in Europe, in South America, in Asia, all around the planet, as we come together, we create a place where anything and everything is possible. If we can imagine it, we can achieve it. So I want you today to think about this vortex, think about this energetic frequency that we are creating, and know that whatever is in your heart, if you're interested in creating perfect health for your physical body, if you're interested in creating peace and well-being for yourself or your loved ones, if you're interested in creating a beautiful relationship, a divine, perfect employment for yourself, expanded network of friends, whatever is in your heart that you wish and you desire, place that with profound intention into this vortex, and I will hold it for you. I know my beautiful guest today, Scott Kennedy, will hold it for you, and each one of our brothers and sisters that are connecting on this show will hold it. We'll hold it for each other, knowing that we can manifest whatever it is that we want. So today, we're going to be talking about nutrition. I know many of you know I'm a huge proponent of proper nutrition and living foods. I had the great privilege recently of speaking on this topic at both the Conscious Life Expo and also the Raw Living Expo. And speaking about living foods is my passion, because I have seen firsthand the incredible benefits that are provided to the human body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit when we put living foods into a living body. It is my belief that we actually have the capacity to get better in every single way, not metaphorically, but literally. And superfoods certainly is a path and gateway to that. My guest today has discovered a superfood that has been right under our noses, or should I say, right under the ocean, for millenniums. Sea vegetables are one of the most potent superfoods on the planet today, and yet most of us do not get nearly enough sea veggies in our diet. You know that old adage, without our health, we have nothing? I would like to take that a step further and say with expanded health, we have access to extended human potentialities that are so far beyond our present-day paradigm. One of my recent guests, raw food expert Kevin Hill, broke down last time he was on the show that there are three types of food. There are foods that are bad for you. We all know, we're not going to mention any names, but we see them on every corner of every intersection across the United States. We have foods that simply nourish us, and then we have foods that literally have the capacity to heal us. Sea veggies are definitely in that third category. A lot has been said recently about superfoods giving us access to superhuman powers and capacity. Well, today you are really in luck because my guest, Scott Kennedy, is going to share with you one of the greatest superfoods on the planet. My guest today is affectionately known as a seaweed farmer. Let me share just a little bit about him with you right now. In 1983, Scott was on his way to a degree in business and real estate when a profound and very synchronistic magical experience changed the course of his life forever. In 1985, he founded Sea Veg, now called Pharmacy. He began researching and promoting the value of sea vegetation on human nutrition. Studying under numerous mentors, Scott was privy to an enormous body of research and documentation amassed by these masters. Scott has created the most comprehensive collection of scientific literature on marine algae in the world with help of his associate, Dr. Cron. Mr. Kennedy hosted the long-running talk show hosted from Las Vegas called the Nature of Health Show, interviewing many numerous health professionals. Scott's personal mission and message is to bring more sea vegetation to humans for daily consumption than anyone in history, and he's already accomplished that. So please help me right now in welcoming my dear friend and the sponsor of our show, the Dr. Elizabeth Show, and the creator of Pharmacy and Sea Veg, Scott Kennedy. Welcome, Scott.
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you very much for that introduction, Dr. Elizabeth. It was heartwarming.
Oh, you're very welcome. Well, I want to share, now that I've brought you on the show, I do want to share with you here in front of everybody. I have rarely seen another human being take on their purpose and their mission in life with such passion and with such dedication as you have and as you currently do. And I want to acknowledge you for that because you've really dedicated your entire life to making sure that everyone on the planet has the best nutrition that is accessed from the sea, first to let people know about it and then to give them access to that. And I wanted to personally thank you for that because it's an extraordinary mission and you do a beautiful job with it.
Well, thank you very much. And, you know, that's so true. I tell people I don't have to find my passion. I have to find my patience. A lot of people go to seminars to find their passion and find what's important to them. And, you know, this was almost placed into me. I mean, it almost chose me, and there's some truth to that. But I have to tell you, you are amazing. First of all, you've attracted me and the Sea Veg to you and to your listeners because of your positive, you know, spirituality. You've attracted the best. And now that's got a caveat. When I was in Las Vegas, you know, some women would come in and they heard me on the radio and they just resonated with my message, and there wouldn't be anything wrong with them. They wouldn't have any ailments. Right. And then the men would come in sometimes and they have all these problems. They try to talk me out of Sea Veg, and I think those that have, more will be given. And those that don't have, even that which they have, which is their love of science or their faith in science and in men, they're going to lose that and even what they have, they'll lose. So it's just amazing. It's that those that have more will be given. So you've just you received the sea-veg information. It resonated with you, and you recognize it. That means there's something inside of you that knew it already.
Well, I have to. Thank you for saying that, and I have to tell you, this is truly an honor. I have my colleagues are some of the most extraordinary raw food experts in the world, and one of my very, very dear friends, her name is Happy Oasis, and she's really one of the godmothers. She's like one of the founders of the entire raw food movement, and she's one of my very dear friends. For the very first time, the Conscious Life Expo is a huge expo. There's thousands and thousands of people who come to this expo, twice a year, and it's been going on for years. And this is the very first year that we actually had a raw food panel, which is stunning to me because living foods is one of the most powerful portal gateway openings to higher consciousness. So I was thrilled to be one of 5 people who were part of this panel. And it was funny because one of the questions that was asked is, what is your favorite fruit and what is your favorite vegetable? And I was the second to the last person to answer that question. And people said all these different vegetables, and it was, they were all lovely answers. And then I said, my favorite vegetables are sea vegetables, and the whole panel went, oh, that's the best. And it was like I got the right answer because everybody was like, oh my God, that's it, that's exactly it. But it truly is, and what I love about talking about nutrition is a lot of people don't know. And I know one of my very good friends who I work with a lot, Sarah Dubonnet, I want to give a shout-out to her, because she just recently won several awards at the Raw Living Expo, and she's, like you and like myself, is dedicated to giving people the proper information for the best nutrition available, because it literally gives you the best life available. And and so we're really excited about that. So let's do this first. I would love, because you shared this with me in private, and I said the next time I'm going to have you on the show, it's such a beautiful, deep, spiritual story. I would love to have you share this. I know that it's a very synchronistic and powerful, magical way in which sea vegetables actually, and your purpose in life actually found you. So can you share the extended version of that story? And I'll tell you why. It's important for people to know for many reasons, and one of those reasons is I love to share with people that we are all here to do what we love. Nobody needs to go to a 9-to-5 job that they absolutely hate, and that's killing them, because we didn't come here to this planet for that reason. We came here to shine and share our divine, magnificent, unique gifts and talents with the world, and that's what you're doing. And I love to share stories about people who have found their passion, or like you were saying, their passion finds them. So I really would love for you to share the story so people can hear in your story what's possible. So please,
Yeah, I've been breathing deep while you leading up to that. I haven't shared this only one other time on radio, because most of the hosts are not in that place that has any bearing on them. There's no reference point. They wouldn't understand it. It would seem strange. So most of the time when I speak, it's my mother's MS was put into remission with some seaweed supplements, and she never had another attack. And then 17 years later, there was an MRI done because my 2 brothers thought she was misdiagnosed. They wouldn't accept that these seaweed pills did it to her, and they still don't take it. But the MRI showed that she had no new demyelinizations since 1983, and that's when I found out about the sea plant. So that's the story I tell, that I got it from my mother, then I started taking it, and on we go. But there were some events that preceded me getting it from my mother that were
I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah, and those when I look back, I think, it's just a matter of days, changed the entire course of my life, and there was no question about it. For me, it was a personal thing, but people around me saw me change, and they didn't know what was going on, and that was difficult. That was the hard part, but I was very much in love with my first wife, and I was 27 and she was 22, and Canadian, and I play hockey, and it was just wonderful. And I was speaking to her one night after drinking some wine, and with the French doors open in September 16th to be exact, and I was just sharing things, putting terms on things, and feelings that I've had all my life, and I had never been able to share those, and something happened to me, and it's something powerful turned me over, and I was hyperventilating, and my back was arching, and I could hear her like she was in a tunnel, or I was in a tunnel, and all I could say was, "Oh my God!" I didn't know what this was, but I'd never said those words like that. I had never said them like that. I know that, and it was something so far beyond. The only feeling that ever came close physically was when I broke my wrist and I had to get a shot of Demerol, and that just pales in comparison. So something happened to me, and she told me this was happening. I didn't know what it was. I just know it was very euphoric, and I felt like I was in the presence of God, like an ant in His hands. And then it stopped, and next morning I felt like I felt like I was just more relaxed than I'd ever been in my entire life. And she was reading Shirley MacLaine's book, which I had purchased for my mother's birthday a few months before. And Shirley MacLaine's book, she was on the 16th chapter, and so she was reading it that Sunday morning. I think maybe it was Saturday morning, and I was just laying there like, wow. It was unbelievable. And she said, "You've got to read this." And I got that book from my mother because I didn't have a birthday gift for her, and it was the day before her birthday, and I hurried through a mall, and there was Shirley MacLaine with her arms crossed on the beach, the sun setting, and I thought,
right.
And it was the best. I thought, well, there's a book about a woman, and I'll get it for my mother, and I'll look really smart. But I didn't know Shirley MacLaine from Shirley Booth. I didn't know who she was. I don't remember any movies or anything. I got it for her. Right. She read it. She said, "Scott, this would be a book that you'd like." And I thought, wow, Mom, I mean, why would I want to read about a woman in her 40s or 50s and who I don't even know what? Anyway, Darian read it, and she was on the 16th chapter, and she said, "You've got to read this." And now I'm hearing it again. Now I've got to read this Shirley MacLaine book, and I just didn't understand that. Well, Shirley MacLaine in that book talks about her life and her questioning and how she struggled with things that she knew were real, but then she bumped into a guy that knew someone that did some trance channeling, and that 16th chapter is her going to a trance channeler and getting a reading. I don't know if it's a Akashic reading or not, but I said, what is it? And Darian said, "Well, you were saying these things last night." But I thought, wow, how could I say those things? I mean, I was talking about our sixth sense, and when all our senses are off, then there's a part of us that can, have a voice, and we have to meditate or stop moving and stop all our other senses. And I think what I did was I hit a wall. I mean, I just hit a door, and it opened, and so I didn't know what happened, and I needed to know. So just being the man that I am, and so on Monday, after reading Shirley MacLaine's book, I looked at this paper that I'd seen every day for 5 years in Austin called New Texas, and it was an alternative paper, and I picked it up for the very first time. And in the back in the ads, there was this little ad that said Akashic reading, and call this number, and that's all it said, Dolores. And I called that number, and I went over there, and I had my suit on. I was in real estate at that time. And I went over there, and I spent 6 hours there. And I went over there to talk to her, and she was explaining all this stuff. She was taking all the supplements off. She had a little health food store, taking all the supplements down and putting this one brand of supplement up there, and that was the Wachters Organic Sea Products, 1932. Right. And she told me about all these things, just so many things but I was very open to it because I knew it was synchronistic. And she scheduled me to send a questions over to Phoenix, where I am right now, and have a reading done by proxy. And that came back a week or two later. But while I was there, she scheduled me for an eye reading, iridologist reading. I thought, reading eyes? What's that? And apparently I was allergic to milk when I was born, and my mother got MS, and then 27 years later I found out about these seaweed pills, and it went away. She's 84 now. She never had another attack. She's in clinical remission, as I said. But my eyes had brown around the pupil, and I thought it was coloring. I see these Clairol models on TV, and they brown in their eyes. That's mucus. She said, "That's mucus." Mm-hmm. I thought I was allergic to milk, but I started drinking milk. My mother put me back on milk because they say you're going to outgrow it, but you just tolerate it better. You don't die. Right. And so I had mucus in my body from the American diet, and she said, "That'll go away if you get on the C-Veg supplements. That'll go away." I thought she was crazy, basically, but I got it from my mother. And my mother's numbness in her hands and her feet just disappeared in 90 days. And she just got stronger and stronger. And she never had another attack, and she had those all while we were growing up. And she's just never had another MS attack. She's in complete remission. We have 4 other complete remissions of MS, but I've spoken to hundreds of MS patients.
Right.
It's only the few that, I don't know, it's just something that in them that says that, maybe it's true. So I kept taking the C-Veg, and then I took the C-Veg to my mother's neurologist, and he just said, I'll put it in her file. I'll put the information in her file. I said, wait a minute. This is a cure for MS. It looks like we can study it. No, we'll put it in her file.
Right.
And that was the beginning of my, the loss of my innocence, if you will. And I began investigating their industry, and then the vitamin industry I found out was the drug industry. So I said to myself, well, drug companies are making the vitamins, the drug companies are making the drugs. I'll push the seaweed supplement, and I'll get rich, and everybody get healthy next year. And that was 30 years ago, this September. So it's been a long road, but nothing changes. I'm still saying the same thing, but my life changed that day. And I went to the library on Monday, and I told this lady what had happened to me, and she pointed over there, and there was this whole area that I didn't even know existed in the library on esoteric and theology.
Right.
And the first book I opened was Edgar Cayce's book, There Is a River. She said, look for Edgar Cayce, is what she said. And I did. I opened the book, and Edgar Cayce and I, born on March 18th, we have the same birthday.
Wow.
And I thought, that's strange, and I went on to read, and I even joined the Association for Research Enlightenment, and for many years I got all his books on how he healed with food, and he's the most validated psychic in America ever.
Right.
And he says something about seaweed that we'll talk about later. But I went on about 11 books home, and I read all those books. But for me, I knew that this was real because I was seeing the flowers look like they were alive. I mean, I was like hallucinating, like everything is vibrant. Something had happened to me, and
you sound like a living foodist. You sound like a raw foodist. You sound like everybody at the conference I was at last weekend. Welcome to
and I'm
the
mad
club.
because I don't feel like that every day, because I felt like that for every day for a while, and then it slowly disappeared.
We can talk about that. We can talk. I can help you get that back. We can talk about that because there are ways. There literally are ways. And I talk about that in my book. Not a plug for my book, but my book, Sitting, Dipping in the Fountain of Youth, is really, it's about that. It's not just about your physical body looking fabulous, which of course is lovely and fun and everything, but it's really about all of that, what you're talking about, these experiences, which were meant to have. We came to this planet Earth. It's like, I remember one time my spiritual teacher and very, very dear friend, Dr. Michael Beck, was sharing a story one time with me that it is incredibly difficult for a spirit to actually come to this planet, take a human form, and be on this planet. It's not easy. It's not like it seems like it because babies are being born every day. But from the spirit realm to come into this physical realm, especially planet Earth, it takes a lot, and only the strongest spirits really gain their access and their way here. So this is a very powerful, special group of spirits here on planet Earth, here to make a powerful difference. So what I'd like to share with you first, Scott, is thank you on behalf of everyone, myself included, for having the courage to share that story, because that story is so powerful. When you shared that story with me, it's so funny because I have to tell my listeners, I had Scott on the show the first time, and I knew, my intuition, my inner knowing knew when I read your bio. There's nothing in your bio that even mentions anything about this, but I knew, my knowing told me this is a very special story. So when I asked you, I expected to hear the story you told this time, and I didn't. I got a very, the short version that you tell pretty much everybody else. And then afterwards, when I called to say thank you for being on the show, you shared that story. And I remember saying to you, no, Scott, you need to share that story. That's the story that my audience will love. And so I know because I see what my audience is feeling and thinking. I had that set with Greg connected, and I can feel how much they love this story, and I love this story for many reasons. One, it's inspiring because it's possible for all of us. What's possible for one is possible for all of us. If one person heals themselves of cancer, it's possible. Like I was talking about the vortex earlier in the show, in my intro, it's possible for all of us. So if you profoundly found your purpose and mission in life and you love it so much, it's possible for everybody, because I know many, many, many people, every time I speak, they say, Dr. Elizabeth, how can I find my purpose? I really want to live my purpose and my passion. I really want to do what I love, and earn a living doing that, and it's possible. So just on that level, thank you for sharing. And also as a man, because like we were talking about earlier, men don't tend to share this kind of, it tends to be a little more difficult for, the average bear, the average man bear, to share this. So for you, I know it was something for you to share this. I really want to thank you.
Well, I appreciate that, and I did have trouble. I played hockey since I was 7. I was in locker rooms with your A-type alpha male. I mean, I loved hockey, but I loved it on a higher level than the fighting and all that. I just loved the speed of it and the quickness of it, and so athletic. And but I had they tell me to shut up, quit talking about that C-veg. And so in those 90 days, I had the experience. I met Dolores. My mother was healed, and I no longer wanted to be in real estate. So it was all right there. And I said, well, if I sell that stuff, it's consistent with how I feel, and I can do all day what, I don't have to compartmentalize, do something during the day and then have my spiritual life over here, and it could be my life. And it has been my life, and that's why I say when it chose me. There's been times when I said it's just not worth it because people were laughing at me. Nobody was listening. But a woman would come and then I'd help her and she'd get healed, and 100 people could laugh because I knew if you just take it, it'll change you. And, they would laugh. And in the 90s, they looked at me funny. And I had a van with C-veg on the plates, and C-vegetation has the force in it written down the side. And then they'd look at me funny. Then in this decade, they asked me about it, and now they're beginning to actually take it. It's quite amazing because I remember vividly the resistance that I got from everybody. The only vitamin out then was CoQ10 was the big thing. Otherwise, it was just multiple vitamins and CoQ10. There wasn't any green stuff. There wasn't anything living in the capsule. So I have had trouble, but but see, that's the thing. There's a fighter in me, and I've had to fight, and I was able to fight because I knew that this sea vegetation was special. And the more I studied it, the more I took it too. It changed me. It changed my diet. I didn't crave meat anymore. I said, "What's going on here? I like meat." It changed me in 7 years. It changed me. Now, since 91, I haven't had a cold, flu, or virus, and so it's taken me, and I live it and I walk it, and it's just these pills that have our species in there, and they're very special.
I'd love to share real quickly because I want you to share more about the sea vegetation when we go to that next. But I really want to share what I really want to share quickly because you brought it up, and I just want to add a little something to it. Is the tide is turning. I know that because there's a lot of very spiritual light workers listening to the show, either live right now or they listen to the archive, and literally they all are, and we are, very powerful light workers on the planet. And it is a minority right now. The beautiful part is, though, we chose to come here to this planet at this particular time in human history to make a difference, and what's happening is we're finding each other, and there's hope. There is faith, there's camaraderie, there's collaboration, there's community in finding each other. And so what I welcome, because you've brought it so far, Scott, just know that there's a lot of people who are excited about this conversation. There's a lot of people who are excited about what you're offering, and it is changed. Like, it's not like it was before. It is getting better.
I know, and everything's changing. The world is changing.
More people are waking. And more people are waking up, and we want to look forward towards the awakening because more people are awakening. And we really did. I always think because, growing up was tough for me because, I was having out-of-body experiences. I mean, I was in kindergarten. I was saying things like, I grew up, in a very Catholic environment, and I was saying things like, well, spirituality unites, but religions separate and cause wars. I'm a little kid. I used to tell kids at school, look at the insides of people, not the outsides, and you'll see their real beauty. And they were teasing me and everybody else, And so it was not fun. But I have to tell you, I'm so happy now because I'm really finding my tribe, as are you, and this is our tribe, and this is our time. And now we get to share all the light and love that we know this whole planet is open.
Yeah, and I realized why I was so different than my family. Same with you. I grew up Catholic. I was an altar boy. But the thing about the Catholic Church is, though, it is mystical. It is mystical to small children. It's big and it's mystical, and that's the good part. But it is rigid. But I began to have dreams about spaceships in color, with lights flying around the outside, and you know, and people coming down these steps, and even right in my garage. Basically, I don't know how they got into my garage, but I would have a bunch of dreams like that, and I was always walking in my sleep when I was a kid, and so I had a very active dream life, and I had some precognitive dreams, and I started writing them down and everything. So it changed me in such a way that I think my brain opened up, and then there was more room for more things, and I zipped right through the whole New Age thing and got into theology and began reading all the world religions. But I do like the idea of the eagles gathering. I do know that, you know, you sleep for 8 hours, but you only wake up. It only takes you about a minute to wake up. I know water boils for 211 degrees, and at 212 it does a quantum leap, and it morphs into gas. The things that are coming can happen very, very fast, and I think that sea vegetation speeds that up, or raw food speeds that up in our body. It actually feeds our spirit light, and there's more light energy in sea vegetation than any other plant on the planet, and it lives off light, and it grows 2 feet a day without a root. When you think about that, 6 feet in 3 days, you've got to think, I'm going to eat that stuff, and if you do eat it, it feeds you. It feeds a part of you that doesn't get fed like that, and that's just a side effect. But it is a wonderful time, and I'm glad that people are listening, and I'm just so grateful for you to have me on your show.
Of course, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure. You're offering something wonderful. So what I would love to have you share is, let's talk on the cellular level, because, you know, I am a scientist at heart and a doctor, and so it's very interesting to me, and I think people would like to hear what actually happens on a cellular level when you introduce sea veggies, these beautiful superfoods, to the cells of our body. Because I know, I will say this, I want you to answer the question, but I will say for myself, I've been taking it since our last show, which was in January. So I've been taking it now for 8 weeks, and I'm already, at 54, I'm already very, very healthy. I've done a lot of things to keep myself useful and strong and vibrant and all these things. And I'm still, as sensitive I am, I'm still noticing powerful differences. I'm noticing reduction in cellulite. I'm noticing the texture of my skin is tighter and stronger and nicer and softer. I'm noticing things with my hair. I am noticing more energy. So I'd love to hear, with these kind of results that I'm seeing, and I'm seeing with my friends who are on it, what is happening on a cellular level that is causing these results.
Well, that's a good question, and I love the science too. And you know, not many people do want to hear the science and why, but why is part of asking why is to know God. I mean, the holy place, we can feel God in our heart, but in our head we can know God, and our body is our temple. That's the court roundabout, if you want to use the example of the tabernacle in the Old Testament. But the sea vegetation comes from the ocean. Obviously, it grows 2 feet a day, 6 feet in 3 days. You think about a land plant growing 6 feet. It seems magical, and that happens every day. And so your cells are actually breathing under blue salt water right now. They're actually breathing oxygen, and 76% of the Earth's oxygen comes from marine algae, comes from the oceans. So they're breathing in a seaweed substance called oxygen, and they're breathing it underwater, and your blood is blue, and it's salty. And then when you feed your cells seaweed, now they're getting the food. So they are like little fish, but they're very smart. I mean, I can't turn amino acids into proteins, but my cells can. So if I'm using my common sense, I'm going to feed those little creatures properly, and they're already genetically programmed to do what they do. So, you know, all the sickness in the world, short of congenital defects before birth, is the world getting in the way, either through deficiency or toxicity. So malnutrition and toxicity are the two banes of this country, are the two real killers in this country. Go to your doctor and ask him if he'll talk to you about toxicity or nutrition. So it's really it's upside down, and but yet, yeah, God wouldn't He wouldn't let us hang out there. But the idea that iodine is only found in seaweed is pretty telling, because Edgar Casey said iodine is the magic missing nutrient for all mankind as it relates to intelligence and all disease, and that's a quote by him in Trance. And so this iodine is what the Japanese women and men are getting every day. They're getting so much of it. So, yes.
Wait, hang on one second, because that was so powerful. You rolled over that like we were going 80 miles an hour. I want you to back up, back the escalator, and I want you to say that. Beep, 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 beep. That's so powerful. I want you to say that Edgar Casey quote again, because that, you are just right on the money with all of that and singing my language. So please share with everybody that entire quote again.
Edgar Casey said that iodine, and I mean the kind found in plants, there is no iodine in America, and the salt is potassium iodide. It's pharmaceutically made. You don't know that. And there's none in the soil. There's some in some fish, but it's isolated if they're eating sea plants. He said that iodine is the magic missing ingredient for all mankind as it relates to intelligence and all disease. And so all disease, the metabolism is controlled by the thyroid, and women are especially at risk. And I know your listeners have had friends or they are struggling with thyroid problems.
Right.
And why is this a new epidemic? Because what's in the salt since the 1930s is now in the food supply, not just in the salt shaker. So it's ubiquitous. In other words, it's everywhere. You can go get sea salt, but you're going to get potassium iodide, which is pharmaceutically made and laced into the salt, and then moved into the food supply in the 70s and 80s. So it's in the restaurants. If you go to the movie theater, it's all iodized salt, in packets. It's everywhere. Well, the iodide is what the thyroid makes iodide, IDE, from iodine, and but it uses the iodine as well. So over in Japan, they get all this iodine from the 7 grams of seaweed they eat, and so they're extremely healthy. And the women, their skin is great, and they're flexible, and that's all because of the polysaccharides that are in the connective tissue. And by the way, those are processed out because they're very fragile in the U.S. Processed food supply. So that's where all the autoimmune diseases are coming from, the lack of these little polysaccharide chains, sugar chains that hold our cells together. We're literally falling apart. People and that's why, oh my gosh, people that get on the veg that have fibromyalgia, they have miraculous changes immediately. It's just so the cells know what seaweed is. They know what the oxygen is. And I swear that anybody that eats just seaweed, drinks water, and breathes the air, and maybe eats some other raw foods, you're going to be healthier than anybody on the planet, because seaweed is so powerful. And we brought these 12 species in that aren't found in the same country throughout history. So we've actually taken intellectual property that we learned about, and we put seaweed together. So we've got species in our capsule that have never, ever been together. And now it's people are having amazing results. But the iodine is where it begins. And for women, your entire endocrine system is controlled by the hormones that come out of the thyroid. And if you're not getting iodine, your thyroid is never working up to the level it can. And the iodide in the food supply means you'll try to lose weight, you'll exercise, you'll change your diet, but you won't be able to lose weight because your thyroid is hypo or slow. And I'm saying that the iodide in the salt is the reason for the obesity in this country, and the government knows it. And so I am writing this in a book, and I'm going to go on television, and I'm going to let everybody know, not about the natural cures they don't want you to know about, but everything else they don't want you to know about. And that should be in the next year to 18 months. And we're going to blow the lid off some of these things that your government is in on, and it's hurting women and children. The men, I wish they would listen, but they forge ahead, and they don't fix it till it breaks, and they die 5 years younger than women. So who are women going to turn to? If their men are dying younger, they're going to turn to doctors, and the doctors are turning. So it's very difficult for women out there, but get on the C-Veg, and you're going to say goodbye to doctors, and your body's going to heal itself.
Hang on a second. I want to kind of rewind a little bit, because at these conferences I was at, and I acknowledge these young men, not even just young, some men were, of all ages. There is a whole new emergence of what I call the sacred masculine. And it's not that unconscious. old, what I call the old male paradigm energy. It's not that unconscious energy. There's so many men emerging now, waking up to their consciousness, waking up to this. You see them as new leaders in the world today. You see them. It's a very powerful shift. So there are. I just want to put out there that there are changes happening, and there are a lot of men who are stepping into the sacred masculine, and it's a very powerful thing. I also want to go back because you talked about the diseases in our country and you were absolutely accurate about the reasons for these diseases, and I wanted to add to that part of the reason that, and this is tied into the media, this is tied into the pharmaceutical companies, it's all tied into it. Like, I was at home visiting with my parents, who do watch television in the evening. I'm not a big proponent of television. I would rather, as my dear friend says, Scott, there's a little bit of background noise. Scott?
Oh, yes, I was just moving some papers. Boy,
there, yeah.
Keen
I
hearing.
want everybody to be able to hear.
Okay.
So
all
what
right.
I was going to say is that there is this, like, if you were to turn the television on, there's more pharmaceutical commercials than anything else, and processed food. It's all pharmaceuticals and processed food. And the reason for all this is it keeps people at a level of unconsciousness and dullness. And with that comes the opportunity and the ability to control people. When people wake up and start seeing the truth, and what wakes them up is proper nutrition. What wakes them up is a body that's filled with light. Light means spirit. Light meaning our inner knowing and our inner divine awareness. And what wakes us up are living foods, sea vegetation, all of these superfoods that vibrate at a very high frequency. Like you said, nobody told you stop eating meat. You put high vibrational superfoods into your body, and your body naturally said, oh, hello, that meat is not doing me any good. I'm going to stop doing it. It naturally occurred.
Right.
And so as you put more living foods into a living body, as you put more superfoods such as sea vegetation into our body, what happens is we change on an individual level. And then what happens is as individually everybody begins to change, what happens is that pockets of light workers begin to pop up all over the planet. And now we raise the vibrational frequency of the planet. And what happens, I had the most extraordinary opportunity to hear the late Dr. David Hawkins, author of Power versus Force, speak at a conference. There were 1,000 highly, highly conscious people in this room, and what he did was he did his famous muscle testing. He posed the question, how many people vibrating at a low vibrational frequency are counterbalanced by the high vibrational frequency of these 1,000 people on the planet? I mean, these 1,000 of people living in this room here right now. How many do they counterbalance? The answer was 65 million people. So 1,000 highly conscious, vibrating at a high frequency, filled with light, filled with living food, filled with seabed, filled with high consciousness, counterbalanced the lower vibrational frequency of 65 million people. What that means to our planet and humanity and where we're going as we step into the golden era, what that means is that we can't help but, like you said, at 211 degrees, the water is boiling. At 212, it pops. It literally just pops.
Yeah. And that transition is, I mean, you say step into the new world. That sounds great, but it's like a baby being born. It's like birth. It's very tense. It's hard. It's a struggle. You know, the old paradigm, the old guard is not letting go. They're digging in, and they're digging in hard. I mean, they're going to dig in to match the new consciousness that's coming in. And the younger people, I look to them, you know, because my peers, I look around the men like my age, and I go, they were gone a long, long time ago. So I do look to the younger people and the women, but we need that. We need to. And look what they're doing to men. I mean, I don't want to get into this, but men are looking like just schmucks everywhere on radio and TV and in commercials and beer commercials. and everybody loves Raymond and 2.5 Men. I mean, there's no examples of what a real man is when we think about chivalry and we think about knighthood and, King Arthur in those days. You're going to be considered a terrorist if you just stand up for what's right anymore. And I do, and I'm going to. But we have to keep fighting because we can't just take an elevator to the new world.
So, Scott, hang on a second. I need the course correct.
Well, that's testosterone. A little testosterone.
Well, actually, no. That's
no.
What that is that's looking in a certain direction as opposed to looking in a new direction. And it's very simple. It is literally a shift that is a pop. And what happens is that it happens in the blink of an eye, and it's a shift because we can look at some of the things you made comments about, but guess what? It's kind of like looking at CNN. Those things might be happening that they're broadcasting, but guess what? All over the world at the very same time, there are extraordinary things happening, extraordinary people, men and women doing extraordinary things. So I welcome everyone listening to put the focus and attention on what is actually emerging as opposed, when we look towards what is right as opposed to what doesn't seem to be working, what we magnetize to us is more of what is right. So now I have a listener that I'm going to take a pause this point, and then we're going to go back. Before we do that, what I would like to do is I am going to share with everybody. I know we've been talking all about Scott's amazing company and what he's done. Scott has been gracious enough to sponsor the Dr. Elizabeth Show. He's sponsoring us for the next couple of months, and it's amazing that he's doing this. It gives us the opportunity to continue to bring beautiful programs such as the Dr. Elizabeth Show to all of you, and I want to thank you personally since I have you here. Normally I just say it, but I actually have you here, so I thank you for your beautiful consciousness in sponsoring the show. It makes a huge difference on having us be on the air and sharing this wonderful information. So I wanted to let everybody know that pharmacy, and I love this name, pharmacy as in farming the nutrient-rich, delicious foods that are under the ocean, the pristine waters of the ocean, helping us to expand far beyond where we're living at this present paradigm. So this is what he is offering with sea veg. It's amazing. Now Scott has said this himself. You can go and eat kelp and nori rolls and bowls, and you can eat it, and that's great. What he's offering through sea veg is another way to get a combination that you have to travel around the world to get these 12 different types of amazing sea vegetation. He's put it all together in a form that you can just take, which is raw, vegan, and vegan friendly. And I know I've been taking it, and it's amazing. So I just want to say thank you, Scott, for sponsoring our show. And now we're going to go to a wonderful caller that we have. 213-663. Welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth Show. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. Greetings.
Good afternoon. Who am I speaking to?
You are speaking to Idris Hefner.
Hello, Idris. Thank you for calling in, and thank you. I love a male caller. This is fabulous. So, do you have a question or a comment you wanted to share?
Yes, I just wanted to thank you guys for raising the vibration. I've been listening, and I'm just really grateful, thankful to you guys. Just from the vibration that's going over the radio waves, in spite of people listening or not, and it's affecting people right now. And I just want to thank you guys for putting that high vibration out there, and that the information is amazing and it's out there. All the points, everything you hit on is on target, and everything is working for our greater good right now. I heard it in your show, and I really believe that the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. And I hold up, and for people like you that put that out there, to hold that vibration that the best is yet to come.
Well,
and I have a question. I do have a question. The question is, I eat, after 7 neurosurgeries, obviously I changed the way that I eat. But one of the questions is, I only eat 1 meal a day. And my mind keeps telling me I need to eat more, and I don't know what to do. I just won't eat more. because I eat so healthy, and I'm wondering, I always have enough energy to do what I need to do, but my brain is telling me, I don't know if I'm conditioned, or do I really need to eat more?
Well, I'd love to hear what Scott has to say, and I would love to also answer that question. Being a living foods expert, and from my own experience in working with clients and helping them to be healthier, what I recommend is, if it's difficult to eat, which it is for a lot of people, I know sometimes it is for me, being able to drink raw living juices and raw smoothies is an extraordinarily wonderful way of getting all the nutrition you need. You'd be hard pressed to sit down and eat 8 carrots, 2 apples, a whole bunch of parsley, a whole bunch of spinach, and a bunch of kale. But literally, you could put that into one juice and drink it in the morning and have extraordinary nutrition zipping through your body within the moments of taking a sip of that. So I start my morning with the juice, and I also do dandelion, really incredible. In addition to that, smoothies, you can put superfoods into smoothies. Now, I take sea veg every single day because for me, I can't eat enough sea vegetation to get everything I need. So I do take the sea veg, and I absolutely love it. So my recommendation for you, Idris, is as much as possible, get out the juicer and get out the blender, and make yourself some smoothies, and you can keep them with you and drink them throughout the day. That's what I would recommend. You get a lot of nutrition, much better than just one meal a day.
Right, because I was just wondering, because I do kale and chard and celery and carrots and cucumbers and baby spinach and a drink, and I notice I just don't have an appetite after I drink. I go all day and I don't really be hungry.
Because you're nervous.
In my mind. So I'm just wondering.
Okay.
It's okay.
It's okay. Just the more you can drink, the better. Because what's happening is because you're getting so much nourishment in those juices, your body's not that hungry. So listen to your body. I don't know what percentage living foods you are, but the more you cut out processed foods and the junk, and the more you eat living foods, the less you actually need to eat. So it sounds like you're doing good. And if you'd like, you can email me, and we can go over we can outline your diet and really in detail look at what you're having. And I would highly recommend the sea veg. I think, especially with your medical history background, I think sea veg would be amazing for you.
Okay, I think I heard something. I felt it.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, I'm going to go ahead. We have another caller here because we're almost out of time. So, Scott, is there anything you wanted to add to that before we take our next caller?
No, that's it. That's everything. Just add sea veg.
Okay, add the sea veg. Absolutely. Okay. Thank you, Idris, for calling in, all right?
Yeah, we're calling from Las Vegas, so there you
go. Beautiful. Okay, all right. Ciao.
Best day ever.
Okay.
Huh.
818-274. Welcome to the Dr. Elizabeth Show. Who am I speaking with? You're on the air.
This is Sylvia Santana.
Hi, Sylvia. How are you?
I'm good. I've been detoxing, and I'm premenopausal, and I'm curious, by doing this, would I not have to take any sort of estrogen or anything?
Well, it's interesting because I actually did a show last week with an amazing bioidentical hormone physician. He's trained in Western and Eastern medicine. I would recommend, I'm on bioidentical hormones. It was one of the best decisions I personally ever made because I call it the menopause monster. The menopause monster tore me up from head to toe. Sylvia, that monster just killed me. And it took me, I waited, and so unfortunately it took me quite a while. It was a journey to get my body back and my strength back and everything else. I am on bioidentical hormones. I love them. It's an amazing decision. I think that along with, since you're premenopausal, I think going to see, I don't know if you're in LA or not. Are you in LA?
Yes, I am. I'm also an artist, so I've been channeling my Renaissance, so it's kind of a crazy balance of trying to stay grounded and survive.
Well, you know what? That channeling will still stay when you balance yourself out with the hormones. I'm going to give you the name of the doctor who I go to. You can find one yourself. I just highly recommend him because I trust him. I sent a lot of people to him.
Oh, and then a message to Scott. I know there's wonderful men out there. I know it. There really are.
Yeah, they're out there. They're out there, but we need more of them. That's all I'm saying. We need more of them.
Though. I think it's just cynical satire, but to quote, underneath the cynicism, it's a disappointed idealist. So it's just, there's so many amazing artists, and it's just, I don't know, I truly believe in a new way of being. Anyway, thank you. I want to thank you guys for doing your show.
Oh, you're so welcome. I just wanted to also, I think that the sea veg would be very powerful. It is, I just want to let everybody know, there is a link on my website. If you go to www.drelizabeth.com, I'm going to put it in the chat room. It's DRELIZABETH.com, and you can either click on the Dr. Elizabeth Show, you can click on the top, very top, it's the store, or there's also a little picture of sea veg. Click on that and take a peek, see if it resonates with you. But certainly for me, it has been one of the wisest decisions I've ever done is taking the sea veg. It's helped me tremendously. And I think for where you're at, I think it'll help you incredibly. I would like to, may I ask your age, Sylvia?
I'll be 44 in 19 days.
Yay, congratulations. I would recommend, depending upon your stress and your cortisol levels may be high, which is why you may be feeling perimenopausal. I would definitely, the doctor, you can email me at speaker@drelizabeth.com if you'd like. And all the info is on my website. My phone number is also on my website. And I can share this information, but I will share with you as well. Dr. Stephen Krems is his name, Krems, and what they do, and all bioidentical doctors who do bioidentical hormones do this, they measure your levels, and what they do is they put the levels of the hormones back to where they were when you were your juiciest, sexiest, and most vibrant and youthful. And you'll feel a million, because you may just be a little low on maybe testosterone or a little bit low on progesterone.
I just lost 30 pounds in the last year.
Congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, you hottie. You sexy hottie, you. Congratulations. That's a beautiful thing. So the sea veg will help for your skin tone. The sea veg will also help for the thyroid. It'll help increase your metabolism. Scott, is there anything else you want to say about increasing the metabolism and the thyroid at all?
No, but the iodine is in there, and it works with selenium and some other nutrients to really increase your metabolism, and also affects your mood. It affects your all the menopausal things will be supported, and that's where the Japanese women, they go through menopause without any symptoms, no hot flashes or anything. But they're eating 7 grams a day. That's about 14 of our capsules. But you can eat 6 of them a day, and you're going to have you're going to feel a lot better, and quite rapidly too, in the first few days.
And I think of it as mermaid food.
Mermaid food.
Yeah.
It reminds me of mermaid food.
That's the sweetest thing. I love that mermaid food. That is so beautiful. I love that. Oh, that's so beautiful. Well, do me a favor, Sylvia, and do reach out to me because I would love to. I'm a really big proponent in supporting women. I went through it and it was not fun, so I don't want anybody else to go through it. So if there's any way I can support you and have this be graceful and easy and effortless and without a hitch, I would love to support you in that. So if you'd like, please do reach out to me. Email me at speaker@drelizabeth.com or go to my website and check it out. And and I appreciate
Thank you. I will.
Thank you. All right.
Have a great day, both of you guys.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Adios.
So I just want to share with everybody that, again, we spoke a lot about the sea veg, and so I want to share with everybody, if you go to www.drelizabeth.com, and on the very top it says see my new products in the store, click on that, and it'll take you to the beautiful picture of sea veg right there. Click on that. Scott has been gracious enough to offer to Dr. Elizabeth some very special prices for our listeners on the Dr. Elizabeth Show, which is very gracious of him. So I welcome everybody, if this resonates with you, to go check it out. And I want everybody listening right now just to send Scott lots and lots of love as a thank you, because it's been beautiful having you on the show, Scott. It's beautiful what you're doing in the world. You're a very bright light, and just know that keep your focus on the light. Keep moving forward and keep your focus on the light, because you have been doing extraordinary things, and you are doing really extraordinary things in the world. And certainly, I'll say for myself and all my listeners, we really appreciate who you are and what you've created.
Well, thank you, Dr. Elizabeth, and the same goes to you. It really does take one to know one.
Thank you. Well, thank you for being here today. It was really lovely having you here on the show. And I thank everybody for being here on the Dr. Elizabeth Show. Go check out the website, drelizabeth.com. Go check out, just click on, you'll see a little thing of sea veg, and go check it out, and if it resonates with you. We would love to see you getting stronger and healthier and being supported by this amazing, amazing sea vegetation. So we'll see everybody next week. And, Scott, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you very much, Dr. Elizabeth. And I just want to do a shout-out to Stevie Tracy up there in Michigan. I hope she's listening today, and all her friends.
Beautiful. I hope she is, too. All right. Take care, everybody. Ciao.
Bye.
You have been listening to an Awakening Zone presentation. Human Empowerment Radio and Media for the 21st Century and Beyond.